first kind of guy. She said they had sex in the missionary position and that Trump told her she reminded him of his daughter. Feels like we should lock him up just for that, right?
Trump's character flaws, highlighted by Stormy Daniels, must be a tough pill to swallow for his family, particularly Melania. It seems that Trump's behavior is only getting worse, leaving him as nothing more than a punchline and a far cry from a serious presidential candidate. Jimmy Kimmel took advantage of the opportunity to retell Stormy's courtroom drama in his inimitable style, poking fun at Trump's antics, which provide an endless supply of material for comedians. Jimmy started his roast with his usual humor, saying, "All right, folks, let's take a break. It was a crazy day for our favorite ex-president. We're broadcasting live from our Hollywood studio, aka Exhibit F in the Donald Trump hush money trial this afternoon."
Prosecution today called their star witness, their porn star witness, Stormy Daniels, took the stand this morning. And for Donald, I can only imagine the nervous farting was off the charts.
The comic humorously shared his experience of being mentioned in court, where prosecutors questioned Stormy Daniels about her appearance on his show. They analyzed her signature on a letter concocted by Trump's associate to deny their alleged affair. Daniels revealed that she purposely altered her signature as a signal to Jimmy Kimmel, who jokingly compared himself to the trial's equivalent of Colleen. Although no clip was shown, he provided insight into the exchange that took place, keeping the audience entertained.
Your original statement, the signature on the original statement does not match the signature on this statement. And I went through my library of photographs of you to compare it to headshots that you have signed, and these seem to match the original statement. And
wow,
am I getting at anything? Did you sign this letter that was released today?
In a lighthearted tone, Jimmy comically remarked that I had been outsmarted before delving into the detailed account of Stormy Daniels' testimony in court. He highlighted that Stormy had testified for precisely 3 hours and 44 minutes, noting the bizarre start to the proceedings, where she was insulted with a rolled-up Forbes magazine. To add to the humor, he mentioned Trump's impulsive outburst during the testimony, where he exclaimed, "I'm a bad boy, mommy." Jimmy also poked fun at the judge's directive that Stormy could discuss her relationship with Trump, but not its details. He sarcastically objected, stating that knowing such details was crucial for his show's sake. In conclusion, Jimmy made a witty remark about obtaining private details eventually.
Stormy said their encounter was brief and that Trump did not wear a condom, which is not surprising. He also stared directly into an eclipse. Not exactly a safety first kind of guy. She said they had sex in the missionary position and that Trump told her she reminded him of his daughter. Feels like we should lock him up just for that.
Jimmy recently shared a funny anecdote about Trump and Stormy. Apparently, Trump used to call Stormy Honey Bunch, which is also a term Melania used at Mar-a-Lago, but in a different context involving FBI agents. Jimmy joked about prosecutors ensuring that Stormy wouldn't describe Trump's genitalia during the trial, and even directed viewers to a YouTube video that did. He compared the updates on the trial to the letters found in Penthouse Forum. Jimmy recounted a scenario from Stormy's testimony, where she walked out of the bathroom to find Trump waiting in the bedroom wearing only boxer shorts and a t-shirt, which was not what she had expected.
She came out of the bathroom and found that Trump was in the bedroom waiting for her. In his boxer shorts and a t-shirt, she'd been planning to go. She said he was seated on the bed between her and the egg.
Stormy shared a memory about Trump's toiletry bag that had Old Spice deodorant and a bottle of Purr. Jimmy made a joke about how these products could be the reason behind Trump's bouncy hair. During their romance, Trump suggested that Stormy should be on The Apprentice. However, Stormy was worried about being eliminated in the first episode. To ease her concerns, Trump offered insider information about the challenges. Jimmy pointed out the irony of Trump, who frequently complains about rigged things, offering to rig his own show for personal amusement.
This is another fun detail. Trump watched Stormy's testimony on the courtroom monitor rather than looking at her directly. It was odd, because especially when he was looking at the monitor, he tried to fast forward to the sex scenes. And nothing happened.
Trump was visibly shaken after listening to the first part of Stormy's testimony. During the lunch break, he vented his frustration on social media, using all capital letters to accuse the prosecution of going too far and declare mistrial. Trump's defense team argued that Stormy's testimony was unfair as it made it difficult for the jury to remain impartial, especially after she described him in the missionary position. Jimmy then made a joke about how it's hard to shake off such a mental image. He later mocked Trump for making a fuss about not being allowed to attend Barron's graduation, even though the judge had never explicitly prohibited him from doing so.
On the day Barron is graduating in Florida, Trump is headlining an event in Minnesota. I guess Dad's not going to make the post-graduation brunch. Sorry, son, I have to go scream about windmills for 2 hours. And then we have
Moving on to another target, Jimmy turned his attention to Governor Kristi Noem. Joking about her important day and the inevitability of being roasted, he humorously referred to the #1 arch enemy of the Paw Patrol, a playful jab at her controversial stance on certain issues. Jimmy speculated about her status on Trump's shortlist for potential running mates, suggesting that her reputation as a puppy shooter might have diminished her chances. However, he acknowledged her skill in diverting attention from other scandals, humorously noting that she might deserve some credit for that. Jimmy then shifted to a comparison with Mike Pence, remarking on the increasingly bizarre nature of his story. The comedian then joked about Noem distancing herself from her own autobiography, describing the book as the perfect gift for those interested in traditional conservative values or contemplating a career as a serial killer. The comedians trolled Kristi Noem's first book, in which she considered sharing her dog shooting saga. However, the publishers advised against it, recognizing that it could have adverse political consequences. Jimmy quipped that the publishers were indeed correct in their assessment. He then humorously likened Noem to Cruella Devil, the infamous antagonist from 101 Dalmatians, and described her current media tour, where right-wing news personalities like Eric Balling of Newsmax are scrambling to find any angle that might mitigate the fallout from her controversial actions.
I've also written a couple of books, and I know how the process works. You write some chapters. You don't write the whole book at once. You write a chapter or two. You send it to the editors, and they edit. They read it. They add. They subtract. And here's my question. The editor, was she possibly a plant?
Yes. The editor was a plant.
Jimmy humorously suggested that the editor, jokingly referred to as a philodendron working for the Biden crime family, made a misstep by allowing the story into the book. He then jokingly praised Eric for the blunder. Jimmy continued by teasing Governor Poe, suggesting that not only did she include the dog shooting story in her book, but she also read it aloud for the Audi book version. He poked fun at Eric's portrayal of Noem, who tried to build a narrative that the governor is an innocent and God-fearing lady. Here is an amazing troll by the comedian.
Follower of God. I know you can quote the Bible. Meanwhile, because of the story, the leftist media has you out there killing Fido.
No. We don't have you out there killing Fido. You killed Fido.
During his comedic routine, Jimmy couldn't help but poke fun at the controversy surrounding Governor Noem's book. He specifically honed in on a passage where she claimed to have met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and boldly told him off. However, it was later revealed that this was a complete fabrication, resulting in the passage being removed from the book. Jimmy took a playful approach to the situation, likening Noem's attempts to deflect questions about her fictitious meeting with Kim Jong-un to the verbal gymnastics of renowned gymnast Meryl Retton. He joked that Noem seemed to be struggling to explain herself, much like Retton might struggle to perform an intricate routine. With a twinkle in his eye, Jimmy went on to humorously imitate Noem's responses to questions about the meeting, mocking her evasion tactics that seemed to be a perfect replica of Trump's own deflective behavior. The audience roared with laughter as Jimmy expertly imitated Noem's every move, mimicking her body language and tone of voice with precision. In the end, Jimmy's comedic routine served as a much-needed break from the seriousness of politics. It was a reminder that even in the midst of controversy, laughter can bring people together and help to diffuse tense situations.
Well, I never talk about my personal meetings with world leaders.
So maybe you did have a conversation with Kim, but you don't want to talk.
I will not talk about my personal conversations with any world leaders.
That's right. I will only write about it in my book and then immediately retract it.
After reading this passage from Kristi's book, Kimmel couldn't resist the opportunity to use his comedic talents to troll her. He knew that there was no way he could let this hilarious moment pass without making a joke about it. With a sly smile on his face, he prepared to unleash his full comedic prowess and roast her with his signature style. As he began to speak, the audience leaned in eagerly, waiting to hear what he would say next. Kimmel cleared his throat and began to speak in a serious tone. "You know, I never thought I'd say this, but I think we need to start taking chickens seriously, he said, pausing for effect. The crowd erupted into laughter, but Kimmel wasn't done yet. I mean, who knew that these feathered fiends were such skilled assassins, he continued. I think we all need to be careful out there, folks. You never know when a chicken might come after you with deadly precision. The audience continued to laugh as Kimmel went on to describe the scene from the book in more detail. Can you imagine the horror of watching your beloved chickens being systematically picked off one by a ruthless killer? He said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. I mean, it's like something out of a horror movie. As he spoke, Kimmel couldn't help but imagine the scene playing out in his head. He pictured the frantic mother chasing after the chicken with her baby bouncing under her arm while the governor watched in horror. He imagined the chaos and confusion as the chicken darted around, grabbing one bird at a time. In the end, Kimmel knew that this was just another example of the absurdity of life. Who knew that chickens could be so deadly? He said, shaking his head in disbelief. I guess we'll just have to add them to the list of things to be afraid of, right after clowns and spiders. The audience laughed and applauded as Kimmel took a bow, satisfied with another successful comedy bit.
Puppy John Wick. He's a real Wick puppy is what she is. This is so crazy. And the truth is, Christy Notes is getting a lot of heat for being anti-dog. Shouldn't she get some credit for being so pro-chicken?
During the annual Met Gala, late-night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel couldn't help but make a pointed observation that was particularly relevant to former President Donald Trump. The theme of the event was Sleeping Beauties, and Kimmel humorously remarked that Trump should have received an invitation given his concurrent naps in courtrooms during his hush money trials. Trump's recent legal challenges arising from his past blunders have been a source of controversy and debate. Many have criticized his actions, including the alleged payment of hush money to women with whom he had affairs, as unethical and immoral. These actions have brought into question his fitness for office and his ability to lead effectively. Despite these challenges, Trump has remained defiant and has continued to push his agenda forward. He has faced criticism from both sides of the political aisle, with some calling for his impeachment and removal from office. However, his supporters have remained steadfast in their support, praising his efforts to put America first and to protect its citizens from threats both foreign and domestic. As the legal battles continue to play out, it remains to be seen how Trump will ultimately be affected. Will he be able to weather the storm and emerge stronger than ever? Or will the weight of his past mistakes prove too much to bear? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the eyes of the world are upon him, and his every move will be scrutinized and analyzed in the months and years to come. In the meantime, those who are interested in staying up to date on all of the latest political developments would do well to subscribe to Jimmy Kimmel's show. With his irreverent humor and incisive commentary, he is sure to provide plenty of spicy updates on the ongoing saga that is American politics. So why wait? Sign up today and join the conversation.